Hello, 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 it's Emma Holmes at Coaching Rockstars, and I'm talking about avoiding overwhelm. So, overwhelm is when you simply have so many ideas and you don't know where to start actioning them first. We often give overwhelm a big, bad kind of attachment title to it of negativity. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I just can't do anything. I'm stuck in overwhelm. And overwhelm, in reality, is being in a position where you have lots and lots of ideas, you have lots going on, and you just simply don't know where to start. And in that definition, overwhelm is quite a good thing, because the alternative is to have no ideas and nothing to do and feeling stuck. So actually having all of these ideas, having this whizzy brain, having all these things going on is in essence a really good thing. And it's about looking at how we can change our feelings towards overwhelm, because the circumstances are there. We've got loads going on. We've got loads of ideas. We don't know where to start. But it's taking the situation that we're in and it's really flipping it on its head and taking it from that place of negativity to a place that's quite a positive place. So I have a whiz pop bang brain. So I have a brain where there is stacks and stacks and stacks of things. Goes, pooh, you could do this, pooh, 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 pooh. And if I allowed that to take control of me, then I would spend my whole days going, oh, what should I do first? I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. But I've kind of got myself into much better habits of dealing with it. The first thing I want you to know is that Rome wasn't built in a day. One of those cliche lines. Rome wasn't built in a day. And it wasn't built in a day. So it's about looking at being realistic with timeframes and expectations, and really looking at how we carrot or stick ourselves. So often, I will speak to people and they will have the most horrendous output expectations of themselves, and they are beating themselves in such a massive way about how much they need to get done, how they need to do this and how they need to do that and how they need to do the other and how they need to do it all by themselves. And they set themselves up to fail every single day, because no human can get through the lists that they're expecting of themselves. Then what they do is they get to the end of the day and go, oh, well, I haven't done everything on the list. I'm useless. I'm this, I'm that and the other. They'll either work all night, or they'll then go and say, well, I can't have a weekend because I've got this to do and this to do and this to do. And actually what they end up doing is they are just continually pushing themselves to have a bigger output, to get more things out there, to do more, where when they look at the reality of it, they're probably wasting time on stuff that isn't important. They're probably not delegating things that they should be delegating. They're probably getting stuck in the flick, the social media flick, so they're probably just going. They're looking for the answers. They're not really sure what they're looking for the answers to, but they're looking for the answers to something. And what's really important is that we start to be a little bit more realistic with our to-do list. We start to be a little bit more realistic with the time frames that we've got. We start to manage our own personal expectations of ourselves. And don't get me wrong, okay, I have got much, much, much bigger personal expectations than I would ever put on anybody else. But I am also now in a position whereby I look at the most important things I need to get done. I focus on the stuff that is going to make a difference, the stuff that's going to move me forward, that's going to move my message forward, that's going to help more people. And I really start to be much more realistic with my expectations. I work within my creativity. So at the beginning of each week, I'll write down a list of the things that I want to do in that week, the things that I want to achieve, the things that I want to have got done by the end of the week. And that list is quite fluid for me, because what I do is I work around my one-to-one client appointments to work within my creativity, because I'm not going to sit here and try and write a blog on a day where writing isn't coming easily for me, because I might as well write when I'm in the mood to write, because when I'm in the mood to write, I write with grace, I write with ease. It is something that flows from me. If I'm not in the mood to sit and do videos, then I'm not going to do videos, because that's going to waste my time. It's going to take me longer than it should do. It means that I'm going to completely buffer up against myself all of the time. I'm going to be forever, you know, sat there going, oh, it's just too hard. Because it means, you know, the minute that I'm going, oh, it's too hard, means that I'm not working within my creativity. I am trying to do something that I'm not in the mood to do, that my creativity isn't in the mood to do. And therefore, it is more important for me to harness the tasks that I am in the mood to do. Excuse me. So my to-do list has, you know, many different types of tasks on it, from recording videos like this one, to writing articles, writing blogs, to developing my website, to dealing with list building, to strategic meetings, to, you know, all sorts of things go on that radar of things that I need to achieve in my week. But I will really focus in on being creative in that moment. I don't waste time. I'll look back to that list and I'll go, right, okay, so what am I in the mood to do now? And I'll pick one thing from that list and I'll get on and do it. If you're at that point where you have so much going on, so many different things shooting about in your head, the first thing that you need to do is get all of these things out of your head. You need to do one big, massive brain dump. You need to get everything out of your head. And I remember doing this on one occasion and ended up with 8 double sides of A4 paper that I had written and written and written and written. All of the things that were going on in my head. And do you know what? The minute that I did that, it was like a huge, big, massive weight had been lifted. Because my head was panicking about keeping hold of all these things. I was worrying about forgetting stuff. I was worrying about what order it needed to go in. None of it made sense. None of it came together. The minute it came out on paper was the minute that it felt, wow. Oh, look. Got room in here now. That in itself is an act that then some people can translate into being overwhelmed, because there's then so much to do. But what I do is I pick 5 things off the list. The rest of the list goes in the desk drawer, and that means that I have permission to forget about it. It's completely safe. There's nothing going to happen to it. It's not going to run away. I'm not going to forget it. There's nothing going to happen to it. It's all there for me, and I can jump in and take the next 5 things as and when I'm ready to do so. So it allows me that freedom and that bandwidth and that ability to crack on with the next task. The next thing is, managing those productivity expectations. So I've talked a little bit up there about the carrot and the stick, and about how we put too much on our plate and how we think that we can just crack on and do everything. Stop being a mean boss, because effectively you are your own boss. And if you are being mean to yourself all of the time, then you are a mean boss. You know, would you say to other people to do all of them things? Would you expect other people to do all that stuff? Would you be comfortable if a boss came in and told you to do all that stuff? You'd go, you're joking, aren't you? You're joking, I'm not going to work till midnight and all weekend and this, that and the other. So stop being mean to yourself. Stop being a mean boss to yourself. Empty that head regularly. So I talked there about doing that big one massive brain dump. But empty that head regularly. You know, there's loads and loads of notes in my diary of things that I've emptied my head with. But also in my notebook. So I've always got a notebook with lots of things going on in it. And, you know, I'm a big advocate of emptying that head regularly. Split tasks off. So one task in itself isn't the most huge, massivest thing in the world. Just because you sit it down and say, right, there's this one task here and I've got to do it. It might be that you need to create a new freebie for your website, and you start thinking about the sales pages, you start thinking about the copy, you start thinking about the processes, the tech, the this, the that. And yeah, do you know what? When you put it like that, it seems like the most massive thing in the world to do. But what you need to do is start to look at, right, what tasks will be taken in order for me to achieve this thing? What steps do I need to take? And break it down into those individual steps, because then you've got a lovely to-do list, and there's nothing like ticking stuff off your to-do list that you can start to work through, and you can start, again, to micro-focus on the specific tasks. Because if something is huge in its being, so if it's, for example, the new freebie, or sorting out your website, or sorting out your social media, or recording a stack of videos for your YouTube channel. In its entirety, it seems massive. But when you start to break it down into individual items, that's when you can then start to look at what are you in the mood to create? How would that need to look? You know, where can you work within your creativity on these particular tasks? As otherwise you're just going to sit and struggle and not be able to get anything started and therefore not be able to get anything completed. Start to think about outsourcing. So we started with Rome wasn't built in a day, and it wasn't built just by one person. Just saying. So start to think about the tasks that you can outsource. Start to think about the people that can help you in your business. And I started outsourcing before I was even paying myself. I started to get some help with tasks that I knew took me longer than would take other people. I started to build a team around me. And now, you know, my team are massively important to me. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without having the team around me that help and support me to continue to grow. So start to think about the things that you can outsource. Start to think, you know, even if you think tiny weeny steps to start with, tiny weeny tasks that you can outsource to somebody else, that's the beginning. You know, that's the start. That's the first level of you getting that help and support in your business. You might feel quite precious about it. I know I did. I felt quite precious about it because I could just do it myself, or, you know, it'll just take me a little bit longer, but I can get it done. Or I shouldn't be outsourcing until I've got no time left in the whole wide world. I'm on my knees, burnt out and suffocating myself with the amount that I've got to do. No, that's not the case. Start small. Start building. Start getting, you know, those people around you that are going to help and support your growth in the long term, rather than you trying to do it all by yourself. Because that's just being the toddler of business. I do it, and I do it all by myself. Then do one thing. That's the next one. Just do one thing. So when you're stuck in overwhelm and you're stuck there with the, oh, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to start. One thing. You know, one thing will kick you back into productivity. So choose one thing. No matter what it is, just choose one thing to crack on with and get started with. Check in with your mindset. Know that, you know, actually there's lots and lots of positives about this feeling that we label overwhelmed. It means that we've got all of these ideas. It means that we've got lots of sparks. It means that there's lots going on. It essentially can be a really, really good thing if you choose to reframe it. When you look at your productivity, if you're sat there saying, you know, I'm rubbish, I can't get anything done, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, then do you know what? That'll become your reality. So look at the things that you can do. Look at the things that you can achieve. Look at the steps that you can take, and stop closing the door and just using the can'ts as your way forward. Know that your to-do list will never be done. That's the big one, and that's the one that often, you know, it shocks lots of people, but also sets them free. If your to-do list is ever done, that means that your business has stagnated. That means that you've run out of ideas. That means that it's just gone. We don't want that. I have never ever got to the bottom of a to-do list and gone, right, okay, that's me finished. Done with this business building malarkey. Done with this message sharing malarkey. Done with helping and supporting other people. Got all the boxes ticked. I'm finished. It's not like that. You know, the minute that you get to the bottom of a to-do list, it means that your business has stagnated. It means that you've stagnated. It means that you feel a bit lost, and that, you know, that there's nothing left to come. So, you know, reframing it and going, actually, my to-do list will never be done, and I am completely cool with that, because that means that I will continue to grow, I will continue to thrive, and I will continue to have things going on. So know that that to-do list is not going to get to the bottom of, and that you can absolutely harness what you've got. You can put the things that need to wait to one side, and I call that popping them in the nest. And, you know, occasionally when I've got some time, I'll go and sit on the nest and look at hatching some other ideas. But, you know, look at what you can get done. Look at how you can move forward, and stop getting stuck in this having too many ideas and not knowing where to start, because all we need to work out is where to start, and start anywhere. Just get started. So I will speak to you really soon. Bye.